So to begin with, artificial intelligence in itself is, if I may say, hollow. Now, why it is hollow is simply because it depends on the data on which it learns. It makes a meaning out of that data, and then it presents to you whatever you seek from it. So it is like it is reading, understanding, learning, and then it is giving the data. So that is the reason it is as good as the data that it learns from, it retrieves, and then it acts on that data as well, right? So whatever be the model or the RAG agent, the LLMs, the key piece here is the data, okay? Now, when we talk about the data, there are two kinds of data. One is a primary data, which is your production data, and the second part is called as the secondary data, where you take the data and you keep a copy of it so that in terms of, let's say, any catastrophic event or any breach or anything, your business is up and running and it is not hampered, right? Now, in the age of AI, both the primary data and the secondary data are actually at the risk. Why? Because just as we are using AI for good purposes, the attackers are actually using it for their advantage as well at machine speed, right? So faster attacks is something that we will see. And just 2 days back, I think we all know about Mythos, right? So Mythos public review is on the card. They already released Fable 2 days back, and it has created a havoc in the cybersecurity world. So I come from a cybersecurity background, having spent more than 2 decades in it, worked in companies starting from the network perimeter or the network perimeter security companies like Cisco's and the Junipers of the world, to later the cybersecurity on the endpoint like Sentinel-1, Zscaler, and so on and so forth, on the identity piece as well. So what I have seen over these years is that the attacks have also gotten very sophisticated, but now with AI, that sophistication has taken an exponential jump, right, which is very hard to control. Smarter intrusions, and then why everybody is talking today about identity. Identity is in the crosshair, as you can see. So why? Because 95% of the attack that we have seen today are somewhere or the other, the starting point is always your identity theft or identity compromise. Because most of the attacks are done, number one is because of unawareness, second, gullible audience, and third is the design of the identity products that we use today. And whole in whole, if you see the data that is your primary target, both your primary data and secondary data. Now, when I say secondary data, it is, we can say that, oh, you know what, that's a backup data and who really cares, but that is not the case. Whether it was the attack on the AIMS or some of the other attacks, like for example, the world's most notorious ransomware, right? Lockbit. If you see Lockbit, it will just go ahead and it will do a GP update and it will try to replicate itself everywhere, whether it is your primary data, secondary data, and basically it creates an havoc on that. So normally what we have seen is when I talk about backup, it is always an IT problem. It's an infrastructure problem. If I go and talk to a CISO or the security team, he thinks of backup as a insurance, that okay, if something goes wrong, I will restore the backup and I will bring back my business online. So it is always a ping pong game that happens between the IT and the security. But today, if you see, I have just tried to make a clear differentiation here that when we talk security, it is prevention first, and when we talk data, it is always resilience first. So in security, if you see, we are talking about, we will try to stop the breach from happening. In resiliency or in the backup world, we talk about if we are breached, how soon we can be back. Clean and fast recovery. right? And the final point, if you see here, backups treated as an insurance, not a target. But in recovery world, recovery is the strategy and it is not an afterthought. So backup is actually your strategy when things go wrong. How fast can you bring back your business? Because sooner or the later, some breach or some events are going to get happen, and that is the acceptance that we as an organization should always aim for. See, today if you see AI, it trains on data. Now let's say if your data itself is corrupted or manipulated, the AI takes that data as the benchmark itself. So when you take the poison data as the benchmark and you start building things up with your AI, it is going to be a disaster. So when we talk about artificial intelligence in organization, we talk about two things. One, artificial intelligence for end users, where you use the chat GPTs of the world, you use conversational AI, you talk about different kinds of applications with AI for the end users, video editing and all that stuff. Second part is using AI in your infrastructure or in your organization itself. Okay? So when you're talking about AI in your infrastructure, that is where you use AI for example, to do an anomaly detection on files, to find out if there are any malwares hiding in your files or not. You can use AI for that. So these are the good things or the two good use cases which most of the organizations work on when it comes to AI. So if your AI is training on a corrupted data, that is where the challenge is. Because then it is used as a weapon. The corrupted data will be used as a weapon. So Cohesity is working on AI for the backup data, for the secondary data, and as we speak, just a week back, precisely I think 3 days back, we have secured our first and one of the earliest patent in this area, in this backup segment, where we are using RAGs, right, on the secondary data, on the backup data. So that is something that we have achieved as an organization just recently. So 4 capabilities, 1 resilient data core. So number 1 is your protection, right? So when you try to protect your data, your secondary data, what happens is, first you have to make sure that nobody can corrupt that data. So immutability is something that has to be built into it, right? Encryption, okay? There is something called as air-gapped vaulting concepts, which after this event, if somebody is interested in these concepts, I'm out there and we can discuss more on this, right? So that is the protection part, where you can have both encryption, immutability, air-gapped vaulting systems to make sure that your data is secure, it's clean, and then you can also restore it when time comes. Second is your detection. As I said, we are using AI to actually do anomaly detection. We use machine learning to scan the files and to find out if there are any anomalies, there are any malwares. We use threat intelligence from Google mandate, and we can make sure that the data what you are keeping as backups is actually clean and secure. The third is responding. So when I talk about responding, I'm talking about isolating your blast radius in terms of a breach, right? And then hunting the threat and then finding your last, clean copy to restore back the data. And then finally the recovery piece, which is your mass restore clean data, and that too at a scale. So one of the reference I would give is, I hope everybody knows about NVIDIA today, right? So NVIDIA as a company is one of the investors, and they have invested in this field, seeing the value of the innovations around the artificial intelligence in terms of security from Cohesity. So one platform, and then yes, so this is where Cohesity stands out, because it's having a single platform where it is delivering data security, resilience, and all of this in a converged fashion. Whether it is your immutable backups, whether it is your threat detection based on machine learning, whether it is your threat and malware scanning, whether it is your identity resilience with our technology partners, whether it is your clean room recovery, or whether it is your AI-ready data services, which is again data classification, DSPM, which is again with our technology partners. So what we have done is we have taken the best of the breed which are available in the market to give you one big holistic solution and not some silos approach and piecemeal solutions for each use case. The data that you protect today is the data that you transform. What does that mean is, this is a one single approach wherein you are securing, you are transforming, and also you are trusting the data, and then the resilience and the AI, they go both hand in hand. And it is not a trade-off, like, okay, if I'm doing resiliency, I should not do AI. If I'm doing AI, I cannot do resiliency. Not like that. So it should go hand in hand. Now, I think some of us here are from the boardrooms as well, who go to the board meetings and all. So all this technology and all these things is fine, but when it comes to the board, these are some of the things that a board will look into, or they demand basically. The faster recovery, how soon my business can come back if there is a breach, if there is a downtime, if something happens, how fast is the recovery? What is a provable compliance? How many compliance factors do I basically adhere to? If my business is asking for a GDPR, can I do it? If my business is asking for a CIS or a NIST or any other framework, do you comply to it, right? From an auditing and compliance perspective. And then using all this data and AI, how soon can I churn new solutions? How soon my innovations can be done so that I am basically one step ahead of my competition, because that is what the entire game is all about, right? And then the customer trust, of course. So today, the backup you are taking, or how secure your entire strategies around your data, whether it is your primary data production or your secondary data, both are important, right? So that builds the brand, that builds the goodwill in the market. So these are some of the factors that translates directly into the business value from a board perspective. So to close it all, this is what the takeaway is that you cannot build AI on a foundation you cannot trust. That means a data has to be secure, and then on that data you are building the AI, and not just simply you are using AI on any data and all. Because cyber resilience again is that foundation where you can use this to securely build stuff on AI and head to the next phase of innovation.